threshold of intimacy, when trust and time became our first step. At 24, I look back and realize I've had 3 girlfriends, and still, I haven't lost my virginity. It's something I never expected to be such a big deal, but time and time again, intimacy just never happened the way I thought it would. My first 2 relationships came fast and burned out quickly, when I was 18 and 19, just a couple of months each, and we never reached physical intimacy. Back then I didn't think much of it, assuming that's just how things go sometimes. Maybe the chemistry wasn't right, maybe we were young and uncertain. Then came my 3rd relationship, the one that lasted over 4 years, and felt in so many ways like my future. We jived emotionally, mentally, even talked about kids someday. On paper, it was perfect, but there was one glaring omission: we never had sex. At first, our shyness was the excuse. I'd lean in, she'd flinch. I'd signal my desire, and she'd retreat. We were both nervous, fumbling toward intimacy. 2 months in, she got sick, nothing major, but enough of a disruption that we naturally stopped trying. She recovered, and we just didn't return to it. Before long, the habit of not having sex became ingrained. After over 2 years, at my own urging, we finally admitted it: intimacy had evaporated from our relationship. We made a pact to try. We spent months working toward it, with slow touches, long kisses, hopes simmering. But nothing clicked. Somewhere along the way, we became so accustomed to absence that the idea of closeness felt alien to us both. I thought I was patient. I hoped that love would overcome all, until one hot August afternoon in 2024, when I realized waiting any longer might make me resentful. Deep down, I knew I needed more. I wanted a partner whose presence held both emotional and physical connection, a companion with whom I could share passion, tenderness, and love. So I made the hardest decision yet: I left her. It wasn't anger or betrayal, it was love for both of us, an understanding that perfection without fulfillment isn't enough. That breakup hurt deeply. 4 years of shared dreams, laughter, plans, it ended with tears and quiet apologies. I mourned it, but I also felt a moment of self-respect. I was telling the world, and myself, that I deserved more than companionship without connection. At the end of that same difficult year, I met someone new, someone on the opposite side of my last relationship. Over just 3 months, we clicked where I hadn't before. It felt electric, sincere, and much closer to sex than I'd ever come. But then, unexpectedly, she broke things off. She couldn't connect emotionally, and I ended up facing heartbreak again. 2 heartbreaks in 6 months left me feeling fragile, but also determined. I still believed in love, and now more than ever, I believed I deserved a full version of it, where passion wasn't just a subplot. Fast forward to spring, I'm single again, a little jaded but still hopeful. A friend set me up on a spontaneous double date with a woman 3 years my senior. She's 28, confident, beautiful, and lived. She's had her own relationships and has real experience in intimacy. But our first 2 dates? They felt polite, scripted, a bit awkward, no real electricity. Then came date 3, and something changed. We dropped pretenses and joked, laughed, and connected in a way that felt effortless. Our conversation deepened: life goals, emotional needs, shared values. We both admitted we were looking for something serious. There was respect, affection, and I could feel chemistry crackling in the silence between our words. She listened to my story, my worries, and didn't flinch. She shared hers, her past, her hopes. For the first time in years, I wasn't worried about losing touch, I was just open to touching. So when I invited her over this Sunday to make pizza together at my place, I shrugged off any grand expectations, but I knew I couldn't ignore the excitement fluttering in my chest. I'm not expecting fireworks at the door, but I also sense that we've reached a point where sex is not just possible, it's meaningful. I've planned everything down to the music and lighting. I bought fresh ingredients: ripe tomatoes, smooth mozzarella, fresh basil, and a sparkling wine, though we both joke that water will do just fine. I've arranged my living room into cozy zones: talking, cooking, lounging. I've washed sheets and fluffed pillows. I even rehearsed what to say if things follow the natural progression: take all the time you want, no pressure, just us. I'm bringing openness, affection, patience, and an eagerness rooted in respect, not desperation. What I'm most nervous about isn't sex itself, it's the fear of repeating the past where emotion overtakes courage, passion tamped down by habit. I don't want to be too eager, but I also don't want to be too timid. So I've decided to be present, to listen to the mood, to offer closeness without expectation. Losing my virginity is not a trophy, it's not the endpoint. It's a step in my journey of finding a lifelong partner who can hold me tenderly, emotionally, mentally, physically. It's sharing an intimate experience where we're both giving and receiving. You might say it's overdue, but I waited the time it took to find someone special. Someone who sees me, who listens, who wants me, not just my potential, but me, fully alive in the moment. So here I am, nervous but hopeful. Sunday will come. The dough will rise. I'll see if our laughter turns sweet, if our hands brush over flour-dusted countertops, if her smile grows softer and her gaze lingers longer. If it's the moment, I'm ready to live it with reverence and joy. If it's not, I'll still cherish the closeness we build, and know that my readiness wasn't misplaced, it was earned. This is more than another date. This is me, standing at a threshold, not for sex's sake, but for love's. And that, I think, is worth every nervous breath. Sunday morning arrives like a gentle exhale. I wake before my alarm goes off anyway, and feel a quiet jitter in my chest. I make my bed slowly, smoothing out the creases as if prepping a canvas for the afternoon to come. The apartment is filled with sunlight, dust particles dancing above the kitchen table where tomorrow night's ingredients wait neatly, fresh dough in its ball, a bowl of tomato sauce, basil leaves bright as spring, and mozzarella waiting to be torn. I move deliberately, almost ritualistically. I rinse dishes, clear clutter, even light a candle scented with rosemary and citrus. There's a playlist cued, soft guitar, mellow piano. It's not background noise, it's a scaffold for connection. Every action is anchored in presence. By midday, I slip into a fresh shirt, light blue, not too dressy, not too casual. I shave, brush my teeth, and catch my reflection. There's a firm kindness in my eyes, a steady line across my jaw. I don't feel like I'm embarking on something desperate, but something hopeful. At 3 p.m., she arrives. I open the door to a warm greeting, her smile, the subtle tilt of her head, carrying both shyness and confidence. She's dressed casually chic, sweater, jeans, sneakers. She steps inside, smelling the candle, the faint promise of basil, and smiles, curious. We sink onto the couch with wine glasses, sparkling rosé, then move to the kitchen island. Conversation unfolds like kneading dough, slow, purposeful. We talk about everything we've already touched on, life, values, ambitions, but today feels more relaxed. She's softer, deeper, present in a way that didn't exist 2 weeks ago. I watch her fingers press into the dough, a flower imprint blooms in the soft skin. I laugh and show her, and she laughs back, shy and open-eyed. We build the pizzas together. I roll, she dusts flour. I swirl sauce, she crumbles cheese. We mark them with our initials, M and H, then slide the first into the oven. The crust puffs, the cheese bubbles. There's heat between us, not just from the oven, but in shared quietness, neighborly touches of elbows and hands brushing. While we wait, we move to the couch. She sips her wine, complimenting the playlist. I lean back, and for a moment, gravity feels different, cords stretching to connect us, skin-to-skin warmth, eye contact unguarded. She shifts closer, laying a hand softly on my knee. No shy flinch this time, only affirmation. The timer pings. We bring the pizzas to the table. She tastes hers first, eyes lighting. She says, savoring both flavor and atmosphere. I sip my wine and feel safer than I've ever felt approaching this kind of moment. Our conversation fades as we eat slowly. We linger on taste, on textures, on the sweetness of quiet sharing. After dinner, we don't make a grand move. Instead, I pour 2 more glasses, and we drift back to the couch. Her legs almost touch mine. She tilts her head and says softly, "Thank you for this." I reach for her hand, gentle, open. She holds it. I brush a stray hair from her face. She doesn't pull back. I tell her how deeply I appreciate her openness, her patience, her kindness. Time feels suspended. We don't talk about what's next. We feel it. We breathe it. Because sometimes the threshold isn't a leap, it's a long exhale, a letting down, a mutual decision to cross over. I don't know if tonight will be that night. But I know we're here, together. Fully present. Fully ourselves. And maybe, just maybe, we'll wake tomorrow one step closer to something meaningful, something sacred. Either way, I'll be proud. Because this Sunday wasn't just about losing virginity, it was about finding connection, honor, trust, and that, I think, is the real threshold. The kitchen light dims to a warm glow, ovens off and pizzas savored. As the last slice disappears, she leans back, her hand resting on mine. There's no rush to say more. The clock ticks softly, no urgency, no protocol, just presence. I can feel the tension shift in her posture, and mine. It's like we're standing together on the edge of something unspoken, something ours alone to decide. I remember advice I read recently: intimacy doesn't start in the bedroom, it's stitched into everyday moments. A study in the Times described how couples become stuck in sexual stalemate when they stop nurturing emotional closeness first. The therapist I read emphasized: reconnect through small gestures. Rebuild trust outside the bedroom. Be present in shared spaces, kitchen chats, random jokes, eye contact across a table. Tonight, we've done all that. The pizzas were more than dinner, they were teamwork, the playlist more than ambience, it was our shared rhythm. Now, she touches my hand again, longer this time. I turn my palm over so our fingers interlace. She doesn't pull away. Her breathing softens. I ask quietly, "Is this okay?" She smiles, nods, and slides closer until our legs touch beneath the coffee table. The electricity is slow at first, a hum in the fingertips, the small of her back making each breath feel deeper. I stand and offer my hand, she takes it. We move away from the couch's safety into the dim hallway. I flick one light on, a gentle glow spills in. I watch her face, soft, reflective, curious. She steps closer, her breath warm. I lean in, no rush. Our lips meet tenderly, then with increasing certainty. I guide her gentle hand to my chest, she smiles at its pulse. My hand finds her waist, then her neck. We stand still, learning each other's pace. Our kisses deepen, shading into something more urgent and unguarded. We walk together into my room, soft light, fresh sheets. I pause, a silent question. She answers with her eyes. We undress slowly, reverently, as if unveiling art we've spent weeks preparing to appreciate. Words barely pass, only breath, touch, small murmurs of affirmation. That feels nice. Yes. Perfect. It isn't frantic or mechanical. There's laughter when someone fumbles, a playful neck nibble. We explore each other's skin with reverence, learning curves, sensitive edges. It's comfortable and new. I pause between moments, softly whispering, "Are you okay?" Each time she nods, and I nod, and we continue, together, synchronized. Nothing is obligatory. There's no rush to finish. We move at the pace of mutual discovery, gentle, focused, full-bodied presence. When we finally reach the crossing point together, it's slow, sure, radiant. She gasps, our rhythms meet, and I feel the vibration of connection through us both. Afterwards, we lie tangled, no words needed. She buries her face into my chest. I wrap an arm around her waist, inhale her scent. The silence is not awkward, it's gratitude. My heart slows to hers. Mindful, tender, fulfilled. When we finally shift to sit up, she searches my eyes and smiles. I whisper, "Thank you." She replies, "Thank you for this." No more explanation needed. Light filters gently through the curtains at dawn, soft rays dancing on the sheets where she still sleeps peacefully next to me. I lie there, still heart-shaped from tenderness, holding her close. The past few hours feel surreal, flashes of pizza, laughter, kitchen flour dust, and that first lingering kiss in the hallway, but now, in the soft quiet of this morning glow, the shift feels official. The small moments that became big. I recall how her fingers brushed mine as we kneaded dough together, flour pausing midair like tiny confessions. How she laughed when I accidentally sprinkled too much oregano. It wasn't annoyance, but delight in little flaws. Every small glance across the table, every joint decision about topping, every shared compliment about the playlist, these building blocks of intimacy felt incremental and real. Morning rituals rewritten. Before, waking up in someone else's home felt awkward. Tonight, I wake in my space, with her. As she stretches and looks up at me with sleepy eyes, I lift the blanket, revealing cold, slightly stiff sheets. I slip out of bed silently, pad to the bathroom and run fresh water in the basin. I return with a small bowl of water and a soft towel. She smiles at the gesture, a simple act of care that deepens what happened last night into caring intimacy. She sits up. I gently wash her hands, her face, making it playful, tender. She makes a mock fuss, pulling a sleepy face before melting into a wide smile. I press my forehead to hers and whisper, "Good morning." That's all we need. Shared coffee, shared silence. We make coffee together, 2 mugs steaming. The quiet between us is warm, like an old bond renewed even as it begins. I place her mug in front of her on the bedside table. She reaches across, fingers brushing mine. "Coffee's perfect," she says softly. "Best I've had." My chest swells, not because of words, but because she's here, marveling at a morning we built, unhurried and safe. Looking forward, together. We talk, for the first time since dinner, about lunch, weekend plans, her work, my upcoming writing session. None of it feels rushed. We share glances and small smiles that say more than words, we'll figure things out together. Later, she leans into me and whispers, "Thank you for last night." It's not just gratitude for sex, it feels like a thank you for respect, patience, care. I squeeze her hand and reply quietly, "Thank you for being here." What this morning means. Comfort born of mutual care, kindness through battered lamps and mugs speaks louder than loud declarations. Intimacy beyond the physical, we reconnected in small habitual acts, washing her face, sharing coffee, which tells me this night wasn't just about desire, it was about trust. Real structure for a real relationship, I no longer wake from a dream. My girl is here. Our Sunday threshold wasn't about losing virginity, it was about the birth of us. Tonight, as I write this, I'm already planning tomorrow, sunrise walk, late breakfast, maybe she helps me edit a few pages of my writing. Not because I expect more like last night, but because our intimacy deserves tending, in soft moments and daily rituals. In her pillow soft sigh floating in the half-lit room, I recognize the deepest reassurance. We're not just together tonight, we're building together. And that, beyond any label or milestone, feels like the start of something real. The week that followed felt like stepping into a new rhythm. I'd expected questions, but she didn't ask what next. Instead, Sunday laid a gentle foundation of trust and presence, and the days after built on that scaffolding, brick by brick. Sunday morning, I woke first and slipped out to the kitchen. I brewed coffee, made extra, and came back to find her in the living room, sketching with the morning light playing through the curtains. She looked over her shoulder, smiled, and my heart did a quiet flip. I handed her a steaming mug and joined her, no big conversation, just the glow of morning and mutual comfort. Everyday connection. We shared ritual routines, skinny lattes from the cafe downstairs, walking my dog in the park, cooking dinner together midweek, risotto, then pancakes. Each activity carried an undercurrent of new intimacy, holding hands as we walked, coordinating pans in the kitchen, brushing toothpaste-smeared grins at each other before bedtime. Learning each other's arcs. By midweek, I reserved Saturday morning to revise old writing, Carrington-inspired chapters, pizza threshold reflections, dreams for what comes next. She asked softly, "Mind if I read some?" And what followed floored me, attentive, constructive feedback, tears and laughter, openness and honesty. I figured she might offer polite praise. Instead, she engaged deeply, praised emotionally charged passages, and admitted feeling moved by vulnerability in the menstrual paint wall scene. That exchange meant more to me than our first kiss. It signaled a depth of compatibility, ink connection, emotional resonance, and intellectual intimacy. Saturday afternoon. Saturdays had become our shared canvas. This Saturday, we spent the afternoon arranging bookshelves, creating a shared reading nook with Carrington biographies and poetry anthologies. She curled up with the giantess painting book, I sat beside her, leafing through collector notes. No rush, no judgment, just connection. Growing comfort. By Sunday evening, I realized how my routines had shifted. I had started checking phone pockets to ensure I had her texts, planning my day around her lunch breaks, savoring the way she laughed when I sang off-key to old vinyl records. Each of those moments was a new threshold, small, powerful, cumulative. What this chapter means? Intimacy grows slowly, in routines. Trust isn't created in a single night, it emerges through everyday kindnesses, attention, shared laughs, and small rituals. Emotional and intellectual spark matters. When she read my words and responded earnestly, I realized I wasn't just attractive to her, I was understood. Foundation before further milestones. We didn't rush forward physically again. We continued building, not because we feared letting go, but because we valued what we were creating. Where we go from here. The threshold has shifted. Now, intimacy includes everyday touch, considerate space, creative cohabitation. We've started planning longer-term plans, vacation ideas, weekend trips with my dog, maybe a creative retreat, and sex? That door remains open, yes, but we know there's value in savoring the passage. We cross together, intentionally, when timing feels sacred, not because of milestone pressure, but because the intimacy has grown sincere enough to hold it. I don't know exactly where this leads, but I do know one thing. What we're making, layer by patient layer, is far more beautiful, far more resilient, than any first-time rush. The threshold wasn't a finish line. It was a starting point, and the journey after it is already unfolding in the quiet spaces between breakfasts, bookshelves, and shared revisions of my dreams. In the soft afterglow of Sunday night's closeness, I realized something profound. Intimacy isn't just an act, it's trust quietly built through shared moments and thoughtful gestures. When she smiled over morning coffee, when we cleaned each other's dishes, when laughter washed away awkwardness, that was connection. Research shows emotional intimacy, fueled by vulnerability, open communication, and mutual respect, creates a bond far deeper than any physical milestone. What we shared wasn't driven by a checklist or milestone, it flowed naturally from the space we created together. We crossed a threshold. Yes, Sunday was a turning point. But it wasn't an endpoint. It was the beginning of something meaningful, partnership grounded in trust, care, creative collaboration, and presence. Tonight, I close my laptop, turn off the lights, and feel confident, not because I found sex, but because I found us. And in that discovery lies the real finale.